Every morning, millions of people wake up to jobs that drain them. They punch the clock, chase a paycheck, and call it life. But here's the truth. Nobody tells you your job is not your life. Your growth, your potential, your legacy, that is everything. If you keep putting your growth on hold for your job, you will wake up one day and realize you've traded your dreams for someone else's plan. This speech is for the dreamers, the doers, the relentless souls who know that success isn't just about a job title or a paycheck. It's about evolving into the person you were destined to become. If you're ready to take control of your life, hit that subscribe button now and join the journey of unstoppable personal growth. Motivation. Ignite the fire within you to pursue growth relentlessly. Discipline. Build habits that compound your skills, mindset, and resilience. Faith. Trust in yourself, in the process, and in your vision even when the path isn't clear. Success mindset. Understand that your value is measured by your growth, not your job description. Subscribe now, because this channel is your daily fuel for personal growth, motivation, and unstoppable success. Every video will remind you, your life is bigger than your job. Your job is a tool, not your identity. Yet most people wake up and tie their self-worth to a title on a desk or a number on a paycheck. They confuse stability with success and security with significance. They allow the walls of an office or the chain of a K, 9 to 5, to define who they are, what they can do, and how far they can go. But the truth is, your value is never measured by someone else's evaluation of your performance or the hours you clock in every day. Your skills, your mindset, your ability to adapt, to learn, to grow, and to create are the real currency of life, and no job can ever contain the potential that resides inside you. When you focus too much on pleasing your boss, meeting deadlines, or climbing a corporate ladder that may not even exist in 5 years, you start shrinking yourself. You settle for routines, forget your dreams, and lose sight of your vision, because the world applauds what you do for a company, but rarely notices what you do for yourself. Every promotion, every raise, every title is temporary, but your growth is permanent. It compounds quietly when you read, when you learn, when you challenge yourself to become better than you were yesterday. It creates freedom, resilience, and options that no paycheck can buy. People who understand this live differently. They invest in their minds, their character, and their purpose even when no one is watching. They don't trade their potential for comfort or the illusion of security because they know that when they leave a job or when circumstances change, the person they've become is unshakable and unstoppable. Invest in yourself first, because nothing in the world will give you the returns that personal growth can create. When you spend time learning, improving, and developing your skills, you are planting seeds that will grow into opportunities, confidence, and influence far beyond the limits of any job. When you invest in knowledge, you create power that cannot be taken away by layoffs, market crashes, or office politics. Every book you read, every course you take, every conversation that challenges your thinking is an investment in a future version of yourself who is stronger, smarter, and more capable than the version you are today. Too many people spend all their energy trying to impress their boss, gain recognition at work, or earn a bigger paycheck, and they forget that the most important asset they have is themselves. Time is your most valuable currency, and how you spend it defines your potential. If you spend it solely serving others' agendas, you limit your growth. If you spend it on yourself, learning, practicing, experimenting, and developing resilience, you expand what is possible in your life. Personal growth compounds quietly, invisibly, but when it shows up, it is unstoppable. A new skill learned today can open doors tomorrow. A new habit formed now can create decades of advantage. A small mindset shift can change the trajectory of your life forever. Investing in yourself also builds confidence, clarity, and courage, because when you know your worth and your abilities, you are no longer dependent on external validation or temporary circumstances. You create freedom to choose, freedom to innovate, and freedom to live life on your terms. And the sooner you start, the more powerful your future self will be, carrying the rewards of every effort you made when no one else was paying attention. Growth outlasts positions because everything in life is temporary, including the jobs we hold today and the titles we chase tomorrow. Companies rise and fall, markets fluctuate, and bosses come and go. But the skills, knowledge, and mindset you build remain yours forever. When you focus only on climbing a ladder or securing a position, you tie your identity and future to something fragile and external. A job can give you money, recognition, and temporary satisfaction, but it cannot give you the resilience, wisdom, or adaptability that comes from constant personal development. The world changes rapidly. New technologies emerge, industries transform, and what is valuable today may be obsolete tomorrow, but your ability to learn, adapt, and grow ensures that you remain relevant and powerful, even when circumstances shift. Those who prioritize positions over growth often wake up one day, trapped in roles that no longer serve them, while those who invest in themselves continue to expand, create opportunities, and thrive wherever they go. Personal growth is like compound interest on your life. Every skill you acquire, every book you read, every experience you absorb builds on itself quietly and invisibly, until one day you realize you are capable of more than you ever imagined. When you invest in growth, you are building a foundation that no company can take away, a mindset that no setback can break, and a potential that no circumstances can limit. It allows you to pivot, innovate, and redefine success on your own terms. It gives you the courage to walk away from roles that don't align with your vision, and the clarity to pursue paths that amplify your purpose and impact. Fear of change is the biggest barrier holding people back from the life they were meant to live, because the mind clings to comfort, routines, and the illusion of security even when those routines keep you small and stagnant. Most people stay in jobs that drain them, relationships that limit them, and patterns that stifle them, simply because change feels dangerous, uncertain, and uncomfortable. Yet the truth is, nothing grows in comfort, and nothing transforms without risk. Personal growth requires stepping into the unknown, taking action when the path is unclear, and embracing discomfort as a sign that you are moving in the right direction. When you resist change, you resist your own potential. You settle for familiarity instead of possibility, predictability instead of purpose, and convenience instead of impact. The most successful people, the ones who leave a mark on the world, are not those who stayed in their comfort zones, but those who chose courage over fear, curiosity over complacency, and action over hesitation. Change is not a punishment. It is a signal that growth is possible. It is an invitation to evolve, to upgrade your skills, your mindset, and your life, to break free from limiting beliefs, old habits, and self-imposed boundaries. You may fear failure, rejection, or criticism, but every step you take outside of comfort compounds into confidence, resilience, and momentum. When you embrace change, you open doors that no stability could ever create. You discover opportunities, ideas, and strengths you never knew existed, and you begin to live intentionally rather than reactively. The moment you realize that growth lives on the other side of fear, you stop letting jobs, routines, and the expectations of others dictate your worth or your direction, and you start becoming the person you were meant to be. Discipline creates freedom because too many people misunderstand the meaning of discipline, thinking it is restriction, rigidity, or deprivation, when, in reality, discipline is the tool that unlocks potential and allows you to live life on your own terms. It is the practice of choosing long-term gains over short-term comfort, of committing to actions that compound into extraordinary results, even when motivation fades or circumstances are difficult. Discipline is the bridge between who you are today and who you want to become. It is waking up early when the world sleeps to invest in yourself. It is saying no to distractions that steal your time and energy. It is holding yourself accountable to your commitments and standards. When you train your mind and body to be consistent, you create options that no paycheck, promotion, or external circumstance can ever provide. Freedom does not come from working harder in a job you hate. Freedom comes from mastering yourself, your habits, and your decisions. Discipline allows you to control your energy, your focus, and your time, so that you are no longer at the mercy of external forces. It enables you to invest in learning, growth, and skill building, which compounds into long-term security, influence, and opportunity. People who lack discipline may work tirelessly, yet feel trapped, exhausted, and unfulfilled, while those who cultivate it move deliberately toward their goals with confidence and clarity. Discipline also builds resilience, because life is unpredictable, and challenges will test you at every turn. When you have established the habits and structures of self-discipline, setbacks become temporary, failures become lessons, and obstacles become stepping stones. Every action you take consistently, no matter how small, compounds like interest on a bank account, until one day you realize that the freedom you always dreamed of was created by the very discipline you resisted and avoided. It gives you the courage to leave jobs that don't serve your problem, vision, to pursue ventures that excite you, and to say yes to opportunities that align with your mission. Discipline is not a burden. It is the ultimate form of empowerment, the key that allows you to live intentionally, achieve relentlessly, and grow beyond the limits most people accept without question. And the sooner you embrace it, the sooner your life begins to expand in ways that no external circumstance could ever create. Align work with your vision, because too many people spend their lives chasing paychecks, climbing ladders, and meeting deadlines that have nothing to do with their true purpose. They confuse activity with progress and busyness with meaning, and in the process, they trade their potential for someone else's goals. When you align your work with your vision, every action, every decision, and every effort starts to serve a higher purpose. It transforms your daily grind into a deliberate journey toward the life you are meant to live. And suddenly, the challenges become lessons, the failures become opportunities, and the obstacles become stepping stones rather than barriers. Alignment gives clarity, because when your work is connected to your mission, you know why you are doing what you are doing. And that knowledge fuels focus, persistence, and creativity. Without alignment, even success can feel hollow, because you may achieve milestones that impress others, but leave you empty inside. When your work reflects your vision, you create momentum that compounds over time, and every small step contributes to a larger impact on your life and the lives of others. It allows you to prioritize what truly matters, to say no to distractions, to make decisions that resonate with your goals, and to reject opportunities that may be lucrative but do not serve your greater purpose. Vision-aligned work also cultivates resilience, because you are no longer dependent on external validation or temporary rewards. You develop the ability to endure setbacks, adapt to change, and innovate, knowing that your efforts are building something meaningful and lasting. This alignment attracts people, resources, and opportunities that amplify your growth, because when you operate from clarity and purpose, others recognize your focus, energy, and authenticity, and are drawn to support, collaborate, and elevate your mission in every area of life. Aligning work with vision ensures that you are not merely surviving, but thriving, that your actions are intentional, your growth is unstoppable, and your life is a reflection of your potential. Instead of a reflection of someone else's expectations, it allows you to wake up each day with energy, passion, and a sense of direction, because everything you do contributes to becoming the person you were meant to be and the life you were meant to live. Measure success by growth, not hours, because so many people fall into the trap of equating their value with the amount of time they spend at a desk, the number of meetings they attend, or the titles they hold, forgetting entirely that true success is measured in who they become rather than what they accumulate. When you focus solely on hours, deadlines, and external validation, you miss the essence of life and the opportunity to build lasting impact. Personal growth is the real currency of success, because it is the one thing that compounds quietly over time, creating a foundation that no setback, No layoff, and no market crash can ever take away every skill you develop, every mindset you cultivate, every lesson you learn, and every habit you form adds up to a person who is capable of achieving extraordinary things. When you measure yourself by growth, you stop competing with others and start competing with yourself, aiming to be better than you were yesterday, stronger than you were last year, wiser than you were a decade ago. This perspective shifts your focus from chasing promotions or impressing supervisors to building resilience, adaptability, and influence that will serve you for a lifetime. Growth-oriented individuals understand that time spent learning, experimenting, and improving is never wasted, even if it doesn't yield immediate results, because they know that the value of personal development shows up in every area of life, in relationships, career, and self-confidence. Measuring success by growth also liberates you from external pressure, social comparisons, and temporary setbacks. It allows you to view challenges as opportunities, failures as lessons, and obstacles as stepping stones rather than insurmountable barriers. It empowers you to take risks that align with your vision, invest in yourself when no one is watching, and pursue projects that ignite your passion, even if they seem unconventional or uncertain. Those who focus on hours or positions may feel trapped, exhausted, or unfulfilled despite outward appearances of achievement, while those who measure themselves by growth experience a sense of purpose, momentum, and fulfillment that no title or paycheck could ever provide. Growth as a measure of success fosters humility because it reminds you that there is always more to learn, more to improve, and more potential to unlock. It also cultivates gratitude because you recognize the progress you have made, even in small increments, rather than waiting for external rewards to define your worth. This mindset ensures that every decision, every investment of time, and every challenge you face contributes to your evolution, turning ordinary days into steps toward an extraordinary life. When you adopt growth as the true metric of success, you become unstoppable, resilient, and free, because your value, your potential, and your impact are no longer tied to a job, a schedule, or someone else's approval, but to the person you are becoming, the skills you are developing, and the legacy you are creating through deliberate, consistent, and focused personal growth. Your legacy begins with personal growth because every job, every title, every paycheck is temporary. But the person you become, the skills you cultivate, and the mindset you develop last a lifetime and shape the impact you leave on the world. Too many people spend decades climbing ladders, following instructions, and meeting expectations that were set by someone else, never stopping to ask what they are building for themselves or how they are evolving along the way. They measure success by external markers, promotions, recognition, and money, while ignoring the internal evolution that ultimately determines whether their life is meaningful, fulfilled, and impactful. The truth is that growth is the only currency that compounds indefinitely. It does not depend on luck, timing, or circumstance, but on deliberate effort, discipline, and consistency. When you prioritize your personal growth over your job, you are investing in a version of yourself that is more capable, more confident, and more resilient than any position could ever create. Every skill you learn, every mindset shift you experience, every habit you develop contributes to a foundation that supports not just your career, but your purpose, your relationships, and your ability to influence the world. Growth transforms setbacks into lessons, failures into opportunities, and obstacles into stepping stones rather than barriers. When you focus on the person you are becoming, you are no longer at the mercy of layoffs, recessions, or organizational changes. You carry the power to adapt, innovate, and thrive regardless of external conditions. And that is the essence of true freedom and security. Your legacy is built in the quiet moments when no one is watching, in the hours you invest in reading, learning, reflecting, and practicing, in the courage to step outside your comfort zone, take risks, and pursue your vision, despite fear and uncertainty. It is shaped by the choices you make to act with integrity, discipline, and purpose, and by the commitment to continuous improvement that ensures that you never settle for mediocrity. People who focus on their jobs instead of their growth often leave the world with a resume full of titles, but a life lacking impact, influence, and meaning. They are remembered for what they did for others, rather than for what they cultivated within themselves. Those who prioritize growth, however, create a legacy that extends far beyond the confines of a company or career. They inspire others, create opportunities, solve problems, and leave a mark because they invested in becoming someone of substance, vision, and capability. Every decision to learn, to practice, to push beyond comfort, and to embrace challenges compounds into influence that affects family, community, and society at large. Personal growth is the invisible force behind every achievement, the engine that drives success, the shield that protects against uncertainty, and the compass that guides you toward your purpose. It ensures that when your time comes to be remembered, it is not for the jobs you held, but for the person you became, the value you created, and the impact that will ripple long after you are gone. The moment you truly embrace that your legacy begins with personal growth, you stop trading your potential for temporary comfort, you stop chasing validation through external markers, and you start living intentionally, creating a life that is meaningful, resilient, and unstoppable. Remember, your job is temporary, but your growth is eternal, and the life you truly deserve is built not by the hours you clock, the titles you hold, or the approval you chase, but by the person you become each day, the skills you develop, the habits you cultivate, and the courage you summon to pursue your vision relentlessly. Choose growth over comfort, learning over stagnation, purpose over routine, and every step you take toward becoming your best self will compound into a life of freedom, impact, and fulfillment that no job can ever give. So, start today. Invest in yourself, embrace the discomfort of change, and commit to the relentless pursuit of your potential, because your future, your legacy, and the extraordinary life you were meant to live are waiting for no one.